Hello everyone, welcome to this new Upcast webinar where today we will talk, present, and explain to you how to leverage the Upcast Safe Data Transfer plugins. Today, we will explore with you how we SMEs and any participant of data spaces or data marketplaces could leverage this plugin to perform secure and trusted data transfer. But first, maybe I will present quickly myself, introduce what we are doing in Upcast, and next start to talk about this topic in details. So my name is Jeremy Dossi, European Data Express Program Manager, and I work at Dawex. Dawex is the French company, the leading technology company that provides data exchange solutions to deploy data spaces, data marketplaces, or data to organizations that want to operate and orchestrate their data ecosystems and to build new business model based on the exchange and circulation of data. Within Upcast, Dawex is responsible for developing and deploying the Safe Data Transfer plugin and is also responsible for integrating it within its data marketplaces. So now let's have a look on the agenda. Okay. First, I would like to explain to you what is the purpose of the tool. Why at Upcast we consider that it was necessary to develop a new tool to provide new capabilities for organizations to perform data transfer, and why it was necessary to do it, taking into account the context where we evolve with the European data ecosystems dynamic, the European data regulation that now enforce and that have new requirements and provide new guidelines on organization in the exchange of data. And we also explain to you why we choose the approach that we follow for developing this tool. We clarify what is an important matter for SMEs before starting to have a more deep and technical analysis of this plugin, this architecture. And next, I will not make a demo because it's a let's say a kind of backend component. So I will explain to you how it could be deployed, set up, and used in the context of one-to-one data transfer or in the context of data spaces and data marketplaces. We will conclude the webinar for a summary of the key takeaways that you need to consider if we want to be involved in exchange of data in trusted data ecosystems and to conduct trusted data transactions. And I will provide you with some additional resources in order to better understand what could be the challenge and the matters related to this topic. So let's start first with what this topic matters for SMEs. SMEs in general need to be involved in the data economy. They have both data to valorize, to exchange, and to provide to other companies that need that data. We can, for example, imagine that in a large supply chain for a company like Airbus, when we have thousands of companies or suppliers, many SMEs, Airbus needs their data, their SME data. On the other hand, we also often have SMEs that also need to acquire data to complete the development of a new project, new solutions, or to improve the efficiency of a collaborative program, something like that, for example. In any case, SMEs need to be involved in the data economy, to be involved in data marketplaces and data spaces. And what they need the most is also to keep full control over the data, to keep full sovereignty over the data and the use of their data. They need a capability that we allow them to decide to whom they will sell their data, they will exchange the data, under which terms and conditions, and they need also to do it in a full sovereign way, so meaning they need to do it in a decentralized and distributed way. But the problem is also that usually SMEs don't have necessarily all the resources to build these kind of solutions. So they need something that is ready to be used or at least ready to be easily deployable and set up. The problem, of course, is that when we talk about data transfer agent, data transfer plugins, it's always necessary for the participant to have a minimal configuration of the tool. So we need to optimize this process in order to support at maximum the participation of SMEs within complex data ecosystems. And at least they need a tool that they could also use in data ecosystems and data marketplaces. The purpose of this tool is not to only provide a plugin that will allow SMEs to perform a transfer, for example, with one close partner. They need something that could scale, that could use to scale their data activities, data exchange activities, and then something that could reuse in other data ecosystems, could be data spaces or data marketplaces. This is why we choose to develop and deploy these data transfer plugins to rely on the Eclipse Dataspace Components framework. What is it about? The EDC framework is, as the name says, a framework of different components that we need to build, to deploy, to package, and to configure. It's an implementation of the data space protocol that defines the rule under which data transfer engine could operate and ensure the transfer of data in a decentralized way. What is very important is that the data space protocol is now on its way to become an ISO standard, so a worldwide ISO standard, meaning that every data marketplaces, every data spaces in the future, potentially, will have to be compliant with these standards. And we will the same for participants that want to conduct data transfer in a secure and trusted way. If they want to do it in full compliance with regulations and standards, they need to implement the data space protocol. The EDC framework provides so at the end a set of different capabilities that we could keep or not, deploy, configure, and improve to create, in the end, a data transfer plugin that will be used for the transfer of data. What Upcast did was and the work that was did was to provide, was first to create a new distributions of this EDC framework, easily usable by any kind of companies, and that could be easily deployed in by any kind of participant into their own data infrastructures. For that, based on this framework, we have developed and deployed a distribution of the data space connectors. We have also developed custom extensions that, let's say, improve the overall capabilities and performance on these data transfer plugins, and that also allows this plugin to communicate both with all the other Upcast plugins, but also to be open and interoperable with any other kind of third-party systems or component that could be involved in the data transaction process. So, to summarize, with this data transfer plugin, what you could do. In the end, you will benefit from an identity service to manage the credential of participants and of their connectors. You will benefit from catalog services for publishing and securing assets that can be shared with other organizations and data transfer plugins. You will benefit from the control plane of the plugin that also rules the whole automation, creation, and processing of data usage agreement. But you could also deactivate that if we want, for example, to connect with the other Upcast plugins that already provide contracts and negotiation capabilities, for example. And the main part is that you will benefit from advanced data plane and monitoring services for performing and managing the data transfer with different protocols like HTTP, Kafka. You could also connect to cloud object storage or any other kind of technology, so you can attach any kind of data sources to your data transfer plugin. This is what you will be able to benefit from, to use for conducting that secure and trusted data exchange. Now, if we talk about the technical details on the plugin. So it relies on an open source framework that will become a standard, meaning also that it will be regularly improved by the community that work on this open source framework. You will benefit from extending capabilities for also a seamless integration with data marketplaces and Upcast architecture and other plugins. And this is the result of the development that was made to expand the scope of functional scope of this data transfer plugins. And you could also use it as a standalone tool to perform, for example, one-to-one data transfer with a close partner that you know that also using this plugin. So by doing that, you will be able to secure your data transfer in a very simple way, even if, for example, you don't need or don't want to have a data space or data marketplace catalog and this kind of thing, because you already know the partner and know the data that you need to exchange, because maybe, for example, you already have an agreement before the full data exchange processes with this close partner. So we try to have a flexibility in the way we deploy this plugin so that I can cover a maximum of use cases. In terms of architecture, the main added value of these plugins and the extension that we uploaded with that, you can, as you can see on the left, as a participant A, deploy and use the plugin connected to data sources and integrated without effort into any kind of data marketplaces simply by using the management API of your data transfer plugin that is called Dataspace Collectors. And same for the participant B, let's say maybe the consumer. So it will be next the data marketplaces or data spaces that will take care, let's say, of the management of the integration of the plugin. You will just have to provide the management API of your plugin. You will reduce the burden of you on your side to integrate within this kind of complex data ecosystems. So now maybe I will again not make a live demo because it's not useful to show you on new code or something like that. So I will explain to you how it works. In this repository, you have access to the distribution provided by the Upcast and Awex. In this GitHub, you have the documentation that will allow you to easily set up these connectors. So as you can see, we try to is at maximum the deployment of these complex and advanced data transfer plugins. You have access to all the resources that are needed to deploy and configure the so-called data transfer plugins. You also have already the command available to build the Docker image and to deploy it, configure it, to also manage your security, let's say, informations and configurations, and to integrate also your data plugin into your own infrastructure. Because again, one of the added value of what we did with this plugin is that it could be integrated within data spaces, data marketplace, or within your own data infrastructure if you want to conduct data transfer in a closed ecosystems of closed partners, internal or external partners. As you can see, after you have been able to also update the version of the connector to make sure that, for example, you will be able to rely on the latest version of the framework on which the transfer plugin relies. You will, of course, have the capacity to test the connection with other plugins to make sure that everything works and so. Thanks to what we have provided, you will be in a capacity to summarize, to easily use and integrate these plugins within your existing data spaces or data marketplace, or for example, the Upcast infrastructure and other plugins. But one of the managed values is that you will also be able to integrate it within your own data infrastructure. I can totally, for example, envisage a use case where you are part as an SME of a very sensitive defense project, working in collaboration with a company from these business sectors. And for some reason, at some point, you will need to transfer internally some resources related to the confidential project. And this is where, for example, this kind of data transfer plugins could be useful because you will be able to do it securely while remaining full confidentiality and sovereignty on your data exchange processes, and will not have to require any specific external infrastructure or, let's say, a middleware platform to perform this transfer of very sensitive resources. So by doing that, you will be able to reassure your project partners in this very sensitive project that everything that you do, even internally, conform to the highest level of security, to the latest standards for data exchange and data sharing intra or inter companies, and that we also comply with the European data space standards, upcoming standards, and the other European data regulations like the GDPR, Data Governance Act, or Data Act. So, to summarize with this plugin, we will help you to maintain full sovereignty on your data as an SME. you will help you to enforce the compliance with the standards like data space protocol that will be the norm in the future, in the upcoming months, when you will be willing to exchange data in the context of complex data ecosystems or even in the context of one-to-one data use cases. And by doing this with these data transfer plugins deployed by the WEX and the Upcast teams, you will also ease the interoperability and your support to increase the capacity to join in the future or already existing European data space ecosystems that mostly rely on the implementation of the data space protocol. So because we already have a tool, a plugin that implements the data space protocol, you will already have an infrastructure that will be able to easily connect to any kind of European data spaces or even data marketplaces. So this tool will not only help you to perform secure and trusted data transfer with one or multiple internal or external partners, but it will also ease your future involvement, enrollment in European data spaces and data spaces ecosystems in general, worldwide, and provide you with future business opportunity based on the exchange and spreading of data. So, if we want, you can have a look on the WEX website to learn more about data exchange and data exchange technology deployed and provided by the WEX. You also have a link to learn more about the European data space strategy to better understand what the Commission intends to do to deploy and to support in the upcoming years when it comes to data exchange and to data spaces and data marketplaces. And last, you have also a link to have access to the data space protocol presentations to help you to better understand why this topic matters, why you cannot envisage today to use that tool, a plugin that enforces data transfer, without ensuring the compliance to the data space protocol that will become soon, again, a future ISO, worldwide ISO standards. So I hope it was clear for you, useful for you. I try to not be too technical, but still to explain some technical aspect and the added value that this plugin brings you on managing complex data transfer processes. And I hope that with this webinar, now maybe we have a better understanding and vision on how to be involved in the data economy or to participate to data marketplaces, data spaces, while maintaining full control over your data, over your sovereignty, and while also maybe improving your own internal processes when it comes to transfer data, transfer any kind of resources needed, and to do it in a trusted and secure way that will also help you to provide kind of reassurance to your more close partners. So I hope it was enjoyable webinars. And now it's time to close. So we wish you a nice day. And hope that we also have a look on the other Upcast webinar to learn more about how to create data in data marketplaces and data spaces. Thank you for watching. See you maybe in a future webinar. Bye.